Republican voters overwhelmingly, 95%, approve of the president's job performance. And they don't expect any Republican will try to short-circuit their right to vote for him again. The partisan impeachment of an American president who had no criminal intent, who committed no crime, must not be validated or even, frankly, taken seriously by the Senate. Republicans stood united, remember, during the attempted takedown of Brett Kavanaugh, and they succeeded in getting him confirmed. Republicans didn't buckle during the Mueller hysteria. So learn the lesson. Support the president now against these baseless charges, or you'll face the wrath of voters tomorrow.
Tighten up, let's go.
Oh, next matter.
Pencil neck geek, gritty freak, scum-sucking peahead with a lousy physique. He's a one-man, no-good losing streak. Nothing but a pencil neck geek.
Please join me in inviting President Barack Obama and Kehinde Wiley to unveil the portrait.
Clear and compelling. I don't foreclose at the possibility that the Mueller investigation will produce that, or that our own will, but I think the Speaker is absolutely right. In its absence, an impeachment becomes a partisan exercise doomed for failure. And I see little to be gained by putting the country through that kind of wrenching experience. As I've often remarked in the past, the only thing worse than putting the country through the trauma of an impeachment is putting the country through the trauma of a failed impeachment.
Despite the unanimous conclusion of the 17 entities that make up the U.S. intelligence community that the Russian government sought to sow discord in our political process and undermine the Clinton campaign.
Adam, the cowardly, shifty Schiff. He has been caught in yet another insane lie. He is a proven liar.
Despite the unanimous conclusion of the 17 entities.
As you know, the IC was a coordinated product from 3 agencies.
The 17 entities.
CIA, NSA, and the FBI, not all 17 components of the intelligence community.
The 17.
Those 3.
Nothing but a political hack and operative.
There is already, in my view, ample evidence in the public domain on the issue of collusion. If you're willing to see it, if you want to blind yourself, then you can look the other way. I could certainly say with confidence that there is significant evidence of collusion between the campaign and Russia. I've been very clear over the last year and a half, that there is ample evidence of collusion in plain sight.
There is circumstantial evidence of collusion.
No American involved with President Trump's campaign conspired or coordinated with Russia to impact the 2016 campaign.
Investigators found no evidence that President Trump or his campaign conspired or coordinated with Russia.
It was a complete exoneration, and it certainly was a complete exoneration on the issue of collusion.
There's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy in plain sight.
That guy is the single most corrupt, the biggest liar in Washington, D.C., in that sewer swamp, which says a lot. That guy spent 2+ years right there blatantly lying.
He's got the smallest, thinnest neck I've ever seen.
On TV, saying he has all the evidence of Trump-Russia collusion.
Sick, sick. These are sick people.
The bar shouldn't be simply whether the President of the United States has committed a crime.
Adam is a deeply partisan person. He did everything he could to make sure
that Hillary Clinton became the next president, and he's done everything he could since he failed at that to keep a cloud over the Trump presidency.
Because it's all lies, and they know it's lies.
The American people want to pick their own presidents. They don't want sleazy Adam Schiff doing it for obvious reasons. Just look at him. He's a total liar.
That's why he's a congenital liar. Those lies didn't stop there. This is the guy who completely fabricated the transcript. He had to make it up.
They're saying he made this up.
He did not make it up.
The time that Donald Trump has been president, the way you know that Adam Schiff is lying is his mouth's moving. So you know he's telling some fabricated, story to try and make a case against President Trump. He's been doing it since election night in 2016.
What was it, a year and a half ago, when Adam Schiff came out and went on the Sunday morning programs and said, I have more than circumstantial evidence that there was collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians? How is it possible that he has not corrected himself at this point, since we've heard from the Senate, the House, the DOJ, and now through Andrew McCabe's own words, the FBI, that we have yet to see any collusion?
The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government in its election interference activities.
I mean, what a brilliant strategy Adam has. I'm going to make this bombastic statement completely unsupported by the facts, but I'm never going to go on any show where I'm asked about it. Maria, the House Intelligence Committee, no evidence of conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. The Senate Intelligence Committee, and remember, the media love the Senate investigation. They didn't care too much about Devin Nunes in the House, but they love Richard Burr in the Senate investigation. No evidence of conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. Mueller's indictments, no indictments showing conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. There's never been a witness who's alleged conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia, and yet Adam Schiff, that three-eyed raven, Adam Schiff, who can see things nobody else can see, says he has evidence more than circumstantial, not quite direct. By the way, for those who didn't go to law school, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as evidence that is not circumstantial or direct. But Adam has seen it, and he's never pressed on it.
Yeah,
what are the Democrats hiding? What are they hiding? Trying to impeach the President of the United States 13 months before an election based on an anonymous whistleblower with no first-hand knowledge, who has a bias against the President, who worked with Joe Biden, who wrote a memo the day after the call, and then waited, and he described the call as frightening, scary, but he waits 18 days before he files the complaint. And who does he run off and see during that 18-day time frame? Adam Schiff.
Nothing but a political hack and operative.
The guy who's running this secret process in a bunker in the basement of the Capitol. What are they hiding from the American people? Americans get fairness. They understand it. And they instinctively know that this secretive process is not fair. 435 members of the House representing over 300 million people in this country, and only one of them, Adam Schiff, knows who the guy is who started this whole darn charade. Adam Schiff's the only one who knows. Why don't the rest of us?
The president all too often has viewed himself as not the president of the United States, but the president of the red states, the president of the states that voted for him. And as for the rest, not so much. So frankly, he's there already.
But do you think that you could help do that by changing the tone, maybe?
Look, my tone towards the president has been civil. It has been pointed, but it has been civil. I'm certainly not hurling insults at him and calling him names.
Why you gotta lie? You know that you a lie. So insecure inside. Be a real nigga, only bitch niggas lie.
I'm certainly not hurling insults at him and calling him names.
But there's not much reciprocity here. This is how a mafia boss talks.
I'm certainly not hurling insults at him and calling him names.
I realize, as you probably do, Mr. Zebley, that there is a angry man down the street who's not happy about your being here today.
Do you believe the President of the United States is a Russian asset?
I'm certainly not hurling insults. What matters most is the president's actions.
Adam Schiff, meanwhile, the congressman from Burbank, was ecstatic. Schiff has spent years obsessing over impeachment like it was a young Jodie Foster. Colleagues say he has pictures of impeachment taped to the walls of his bedroom. He is believed to have written it steamy, unhinged letters using his own body fluids. So for Schiff, today's vote was thrilling in ways that only a court-appointed psychiatrist could fully appreciate.
But I'm going to do my job, and I have to expect he's not going to like that.
Little pencil neck Adam Schiff He's got the smallest, thinnest neck I've ever seen.
Do you think Whitaker's appointment is unconstitutional?
You know, on balance, I think it probably is. I think the Vacancy Reform Act, which they're making this appointment under, a statute, cannot trump the Constitution.
The fact that these kind of temporary appointments have been going on since George Washington was president, up to and including Barack Obama. And they also say the president complied with the Federal Vacancies Reform Act, which gave the president the power to do this.
You don't have confidence in him as America's top enforcement officer?
No, I don't, and I don't take it from me. There's bipartisan editorializing about this, that he should never have been appointed, and that it does violence to the Constitution.
In the tweet, he says, "So funny to see little Adam talking about the fact that Acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker was not approved by the Senate, but not mentioning the fact that Bob Mueller, who is highly conflicted, was not approved by the Senate."
Oh yeah, get it? Not Schiff, but the thing with This is the second time that the president has said something that you literally are not allowed to say on television, and that's why we can't say it. We're also on TV.
Decorum was thrown out the window as soon as we heard about Trump grabbing women by the pussy.
He wrote it down on Twitter. He wrote it down.
How to do stuff. So here we are, we're going to send a tweet. We've clicked compose. We're now typing our tweet. We're going to click tweet, and there we go, we've tweeted.
He wrote it down on Twitter, but you're too stupid to know what you don't know. And so you think, I got him. How come we didn't confirm the janitor? Once he wrote it on Twitter.
All right, so what does Adam Schiff have to say about all of this? He talked about it a little bit during a recent interview. Take a look.
I think the appointment is unconstitutional. He's clearly a principal officer, and the fact that he is a temporary principal officer doesn't mean that that is any less subject to Senate confirmation.
Are you convinced that he's constitutionally eligible to hold the position?
I'm not convinced at all. There are serious constitutional arguments that as a principal officer, he cannot be appointed to this position.
So, yes, look, the bottom line is the Attorney General is in the succession line for president. I believe he's 6th in line if something goes terribly wrong. You can't have someone that's not confirmed by the Senate, even as an acting Attorney General.
Well, the Justice Department just disclosed that it gave the White House legal advice before Matt Whitaker was appointed by the White House that the president could choose such a person to take over as acting Attorney General.
You can't have someone that's not confirmed by the Senate, even as an acting Attorney General.
In a 20-page written legal opinion that's just out from the Justice Department and dated today, the head of the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel, which provides formal legal advice for the government, says that the appointment was entirely legal.
You can't have someone that's not confirmed by the Senate,
even as an acting Attorney General.
Over 160 times throughout history, presidents have appointed people who were not in Senate-confirmed positions to senior jobs in the government, including cabinet-level positions.
It has to be someone confirmed by the Senate. It's clearly unconstitutional. But this is like the 18th time that Donald Trump has done something clearly unconstitutional because he doesn't care about the Constitution, he doesn't care about democracy. All he cares about is Donald Trump.
The government is saying here that the Justice Department is saying that this appointment is entirely legal, it's entirely constitutional, it's consistent with past practice, and that the White House was told this in advance, Hallie.
First of all, these kind of temporary appointments have been made since George Washington. So we have over 200 years of these practices.
They note that President George W. Bush and Barack Obama did it, and they say that the White House was told beforehand, that the White House basically asked the Justice Department what are the president's options, and that the Justice Department gave the advice, according to this opinion, that the president could designate a senior Department of Justice official, such as Mr. Whitaker, as acting Attorney General.
Oh, Whitaker's a hatchet man for Republicans? Perfect. Whitaker it is. But, sir, that's unconstitutional. Oh, yeah? I'll tell the people who call it unconstitutional.
I'll call him poop. That'll show him.
He's got the smallest, thinnest neck I've ever seen. He is not a long ball hitter.